Welcome to Equity Mates Investing, the podcast where we explore what's possible in the world of investing. My name is Bryce, and today we're back in the studio for the first time in 2024, going through our bold predictions and stock of the year. And as always, I'm joined by my equity buddy, Ren. How are you?
I'm very good, Bryce. Good to be here. We have completely revamped our studio, so it feels strange.
It does.
If people want to watch on YouTube or on Instagram or TikTok, they'll see it. We've got these armchairs.
Yeah.
Um,
We're going hard on YouTube this year.
yeah. So
Yeah.
come join us.
We're going to try and go hard on YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway, if you hear a different vibe, it's because we're in a different
Because
setup.
we're in armchairs.
Yeah. We've also got laptops on our knees, which isn't ideal. But anyway,
We've got some work to do.
work in progress.
Yes. All right. Today.
It's middle of February and we're back for the year.
Yeah, admittedly, doing bold predictions and stock of the year when we're, 6 weeks into it, markets are ripping, there's a lot going on. So we're going to have to kind of work around that with our bold predictions, but keen to get into it. However, there's some bigger news than what's going on in markets. You had a huge summer.
Yep.
Talk us through it.
Nvidia is up. No, so I got engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. Alice and I getting married in December.
Yeah, locked in.
Yeah.
Locked and
Well,
loaded.
save the dates need to go out.
Yes.
So
But you've planned most of it.
yeah. Got it all sorted.
Yeah.
Music was the big headache, but we got there.
What'd you end up deciding?
There was a strong push towards DJ, but then we've come right back around and we're going band.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's very exciting. And moved in.
Moved house. Yes. Settled and moved. So it's all happening.
Yeah.
Life got very real.
Yes.
Yeah. You've also moved into your place.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a big summer of DIY.
Yeah. Bunnings #1 customer.
Yes. I reckon I've been there 25 times in the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah. Harriet, my wife as well, is now fully confident on where everything is. We've got the app.
Okay.
Because it can be super overwhelming when you go in
Definitely.
looking for one thing and there's like 75 aisles.
Yeah.
But once you get the hang of it, man, they literally have everything. I love that place.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I spent my summer building things, buying tools.
Yep.
Getting a toolbox.
Well, we went to a concert over summer, and Bryce had everyone round to his place to show them the house and to have some pre-drinks before we went. And you had built 2 benches,
Yes.
beautiful, and you'd painted the courtyard. It was really nice. But then at one stage, one of the benches falls over.
Yeah. Yes.
Luckily, no one's sitting on it.
And I think they were.
Oh,
that was that was the issue. I think what had happened was I'd looked up the dimensions for a bench seat and thought, when I started building it, I thought that seems too big. And so I cut it back to what I thought looked like a good bench size. And in hindsight, I should have stuck with regulation bench size because it's too unstable.
Yeah. So anyway, a bit of work to do.
Nonetheless.
But, I love that you're entering your handyman era.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So good summer for both of us. Long summer, very self-indulgent summer series.
Yeah.
And we come back and a lot is happening
Yeah.
in the world of the stock market as well.
Yeah, well, it feels like there's a lot more confidence in the air compared to where we left it at the end of last year. I think particularly here in Australia, I mean the US leading into last year was sort of pretty good inflation news, but it feels like the vibe here in Australia is turning a little. You'll hear in my bold predictions what I think about that, but it feels like overall, consumer sentiment, the markets are pricing in rate cuts. Like there's a bit of a confident air for 2024.
Yes. So if people only get their investing news from Equity Mates, which I'm not sure is a good decision, but we back it. The S&P 500 over in the States is up like 5 or 6% already for 2024. So that's been a pretty incredible start to the year. Really just driven by the big tech stocks, except for Tesla. Tesla's fallen off, but the other big tech stocks are all doing incredibly well, led by Nvidia. So that's the story over in the States. Here in Australia, we're pretty flat to start the year, but it feels like, as you said, there's some positive sentiment or some green shoots, I guess. But the big story that we saw last week is American inflation is coming down.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 months to January, 3.1%.
And to put that into context, the Fed or most central banks globally have a target inflation rate of between 2 and 3%.
Yeah, and so we're almost back in the target range. That 3.1% was down from 3.4% in the 12 months to December, so heading in the right direction. But more importantly, was down from about 9% a bit over a year ago.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good news, doesn't it?
Sounds like great news.
Yeah, but the market freaked out. The US market fell 1.5%. There were terrible headlines. What's going on?
Well, this is going to be a story that plays out across this year, I think. Markets have priced in pretty aggressive rate cuts for both the Fed and the RBA. To the tune of, I think, up to 6 rate cuts, the market is pricing in America this year. Now, the Fed themselves have indicated it's likely to be about 3. So if it's anything less than 6, the market's are obviously going to, react unfavorably to any news that is outside of that. We're going to get 6 rate cuts this year.
Yeah. So this year is all going to be, it's going to be about expectations. The reason that the market fell when there was nominally good news is because the expectation was 2.9% inflation and it came in at 3.1%. So even though it's heading down, even though the trend is good, because expectations were for even better news, everything fell. Yeah. And so I think that's what we're going to be in for this year. Like, everyone is thinking we're out of the woods and things are good and there's going to be a heap of rate cuts and everything's going to be back. And like, if the economy doesn't do that, then the expectations are going to be ahead of the reality. Yeah. So
I do like though what the RBA is doing. They're not as I think they're keeping a bit of a tight lip around what their actions are going to be this year, and I think that's the right decision.
About September last year, I said I've got a big call. There's not going to be any rate cuts in 2024. Every economist around the world thinks I'm wrong at this point, and I probably am. I have a habit of doing it, but I just don't think it's going to be as many rate cuts as people think. Like, when you get in the target band, that's not when you start cutting rates. Yeah. You start cutting rates when you go below the target band and you want to stimulate the economy. Yeah. Now, maybe we have a recession. Maybe consumer spending really does fall this year and we need the RBA to start stimulating the economy. Maybe that probably does happen, and then we see some rate cuts. Or we see inflation in the target band, the economy keeps ticking along, unemployment doesn't fall precipitously, consumer spending is okay, and this year is a bit of a holding pattern year. And we don't see too many rate cuts or rate rises, and we just sort of see that everything is sort of coming back to where it should be. I kind of think it's going to be the latter. Yeah,
definitely. Well, let's use that as a point to move to bold predictions, Ren, because I'm sure a lot of this conversation will continue. But before we do, we just want to give you a bit of an update on how Equity Mates is going to change for the coming year and what to expect in your feed, because we've done a lot of work over the last sort of 6 months on figuring out what you guys really like listening to. The community survey is live, where we're getting feedback from you guys as well. And we're going to be releasing more episodes, but each with a bit of a different thematic over a week period.
Yeah. So last year we were releasing 3 episodes a week. We're moving to 4 episodes a week. The schedule is going to be on Monday, you and I are going to chat about what's going on. And then on Tuesday, we're going to have an interview with an advisor or an expert, or we're going to be doing a buy or sell episode. Adam Keeley will be jumping behind the mic.
Yes.
And then on Thursday, we're going to do another episode where you and I chat about what's going on markets. Then on Friday, we will have another interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
So more of Ren and I, more Ask an Advisor, more buy or sell.
Just more.
Yeah, but more of what we know you guys are really enjoying. So please keep the feedback coming in.
Well, and that's a perfect segue to, if you have feedback on that structure, if you have thoughts on what we should be doing, what content you want to hear, what content you don't want to hear, the community survey is live now. The link is in the show notes or across all of our socials. This is your chance to tell us what you want and what you don't want for the year ahead. So please jump in and let us know. You also have a chance to win $500 if you complete the survey.
Nice.
All right. Well, with that, let's take a deep breath and then get into our bold predictions. All right, Bryce. Well, we are 7 years into the Equity Mates journey, and every
Far
year,
out.
I know.
Far out.
And every year we start the year with bold predictions. It seems to be a staple in the finance media industry. Everyone makes their predictions for the year ahead. Most people make them at the start of January. We're doing them midway through February. And we want these to be bold. Like, we don't, if you get all your predictions right, you haven't been bold enough. That's the rule of thumb here. So, with that in mind, we've got 5 categories of predictions this year, and we're each going to make one prediction in each category. So the categories are macro, Aussie stocks, international stocks, weird and wonderful, and then, as tradition dictates, we always finish with an AFL prediction. So let's get into it, and let's start with the macro. It's been the big theme in 2022 and 2023, inflation, interest rates, what's happening in the macro economy. What's your prediction for 2024?
Wow. Okay. So I like that you set it up with it needs to be bold because
Has to be
this
bold.
one is very low probability, but bold nonetheless. The headline that we will read is the markets have priced in hope rather than reality, and the RBA can't tame inflation. Talk is cheap. We have another rate rise in 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think, and there's a little bit behind this. I still think a lot of the effects of the rate rises are going to come through. Now, that should obviously ease demand, but if you look in where inflation is still very sticky, there's still huge levels of demand and not enough supply. Services, housing, those are probably the 2 majors. Fuel is coming down, but I think that we are not in the same position that we are where the US is, which is close to a band of 2 to 3%. We're still in the 4s, and the US had a 5 in front of their interest rates.
Yeah.
We're at its peak, and so there's an argument that yes, we are slowly coming down, but is it going to be fast enough? Will the RBA have the patience, and will they be able to withstand political pressure? I think we need to go up again for them to then get to the point where we're on the same trajectory that the US is getting to.
Nice. Love it. All right. So my bold prediction in the macro space, Aussie house prices fell 4.9% in 2022. This is according to CoreLogic's National Home Value Index.
Okay.
Fell 4.9% in 2022
Jeez.
and then rose 8.1% in 2023.
Okay.
My bold prediction is 2024 will see house prices rise more than 2023.
So more than 8%.
8.1%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, here's a stat for you. There was a house around the corner from us, actually on the same street down the road, 4-bedroom, it had all been renovated and everything. And I think this was a tactic from the real estate agent, but he put it up for 2.2, which was just ridiculous. It just went for 3.6.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah,
and the auction was huge.
Yeah. And I can say this now as a homeowner, it's unsustainable and it's a bubble, and then there's the political pressure is growing.
Yeah.
Something has got to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it though?
I
We
don't
say
know.
this every year.
There's a bit of pressure around negative gearing, but it's like you're going to lose the election if you mess with house prices.
Definitely. I saw on the news the other day that Sydney, like the 30 to 40 bracket, 30 to 40 year olds leaving in droves.
Yeah.
Can't just need to leave.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. Well, that is a conversation that we will have throughout the year, but they are our predictions. Let's move to Aussie stocks. What are you predicting for 2024?
So there's been a 90% drop in the lithium price in the last 12 months.
90?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 90% drop in the lithium price in the last
Okay.
12 months. And just like, it happens in commodities and resources, when prices of commodities are high, everyone goes out and starts building mines. And there are now a lot of mines that are absolutely in trouble.
Yeah.
A lot. To the tune of some of the big players coming out asking for government bailouts to support these. So my prediction is that there's going to be we know that Gina Reinhart's sniffing around. She's also significantly underwater on her bids for Liontown. She was buying at $3. It's now $1. So she's lost 60% on that or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we know that some of the big international players were sniffing around last year trying to buy. I reckon this year we're going to finally see a couple of major transactions or a roll-up of a lot of the small-time players in lithium.
Yep.
And potentially Gina will be involved in that.
I think definitely Gina will be involved in that. That's not the bold part of the prediction, but love it. Nice one. All right, so for me, I am going to talk about another struggling part of the Aussie market, and that is free-to-air TV. The business model is just struggling.
Yeah.
Seven West had their report recently, and they just show how much advertising revenue has left the free-to-air space. We've got 3 major networks here. We've got 9 owned by 9, 7 owned by 7 West, and then Channel 10 owned by American giant CBS. My prediction is we have a major transaction with at least one of the 3 free-to-air TV networks. It's not particularly bold because there's a lot of speculation that CBS is going to just cut 10.
Yeah.
The bold prediction is we see a major transaction with 2 of the 3.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because,
And
Channel
that-
10's kind of playing out now.
Yeah, and that transaction isn't necessarily just a sale.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like these are still valuable assets.
Yeah.
But like they're deleveraging quickly.
Yeah.
Their cost base are too high for the amount of money they're bringing in. There's going to need to be some restructures there.
Yeah. Do you double down and say the same for radio?
Radio seems to be doing a little bit better than free-to-air TV.
There's
At least
still
some
a lot of
them.
movement, though, isn't
Yeah,
there?
well,
Like,
ARN's
ARN
on
wants
the
to-
other register, or whichever way that happened.
Yeah. Okay, so Channel 7, 10, and Channel 9, between the 3, 2 major transactions
Yeah.
of some description.
Yeah. At least one.
At least one.
All right, let's move to the international stocks.
Oh, okay.
Where are you going to take us in the world, and what have you got?
Okay, so I had this one down at the end of last year or over summer, and it's kind of playing out, but I'm just going to stick with it, and maybe I'm going to juice it a bit to make it interesting. But it's the race to 1 trillion between Eli and Novo Nordisk.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. At the time that I did this, and so both huge pharmaceutical companies, both in the game of the weight loss drugs.
Well, so Novo Nordisk purely in that game, really, with Ozempic and Wegovy, and now they're the largest company in Europe. Eli Lilly does have their weight loss drugs, but they also have a portfolio of other pharmaceuticals and like some really interesting cutting edge stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're kind of outperforming Novo at the moment. But Novo are on a bit of a tear buying up, I think, injection facilities so that they can keep up with the demand for production.
Okay.
But anyway, the bold prediction is that they both hit $1 trillion market cap by the end of the year.
Yep.
I could go far as to say Eli, if we want to go bold, gets to 1.5. When I wrote this, Eli was at a $600 billion market cap. It's now almost 720 billion.
Yeah.
So it's not, in the grand scheme of things, far off a trill.
Oh, I mean, it would still be a big year for them.
Well, yeah, it'd need to grow by sort of 40-odd%.
Yeah, from here.
From here. Yeah. That's
And
not
they're-
unreasonable.
Over the last 12 months, they're up like 120%.
Yeah, I just look at what happened with Nvidia, and if you get in these constant upgrade earnings cycles, the market just eats it up. And if these guys keep coming out quarter on
GLP-1 drugs have other use cases as well.
yeah, or they just become more accessible, and you can see that these companies over the course of it. So bold prediction: Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk both with a $1 trillion market cap by the end of the year. To put that in perspective, Novo Nordisk does almost need to double, but Eli Lilly has a little less to go. So let's go Eli Lilly 1.5 trillion.
Wow. Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, them and Pfizer, all 3 have different stages of clinical trials to have like oral versions of the drug. So right now it's all injectable.
Injection, yeah.
And if it was like tablets instead, makes it more accessible, probably makes it cheaper.
Just less, more also...
less invasive.
Invasive, yeah. Just the thought of giving yourself an injection, it's just kind of like... And I do own Novo Nordisk. I should point that out.
I own both of them.
Oh, nice.
That's the beauty of being an investor. You don't have to pick a side. You can choose all sides.
Yeah.
All right, my international prediction... I'm going to take you to stay in America and take you to Disney. So Bob Iger is back, and if you've read Ride of a Lifetime and followed Disney, he made his bones with acquisitions.
Yeah.
Marvel, Lucasfilms, and 21st Century Fox. My bold prediction is his second act will be marked by the opposite, sales. The prediction is a major division gets sold in 2024. Now, the obvious one is ESPN, but I actually, they're moving into sports betting.
yeah.
But people thought they were doing that to fatten the pig before sale. Is that the saying? But they've recently announced this big deal with Warner Discovery and one of the other networks, CBS or TNT, one of the big ones. Fox, Warner Discovery, and ESPN are now doing a combined sports streaming service. So we'll see what happens there. So ESPN is one, but I think less obviously the linear TV business or the cable business, or the whole company gets sold to a tech giant. Yeah.
Wow.
So Disney, there's a major sale. A lot of my predictions are around sales in 2024.
I can't see this sale of the whole company, but that's the point of a bold
I
prediction.
can, yeah. Like Apple, Amazon. Like you think about Disney at a few $100 billion. Like it's a massive company, but is it the scale that it needs to be to compete in this quickly rationalizing new era of TV? Yeah. Like Apple buys them, all of a sudden Apple TV is the number one
Disney.
streaming service.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
anyway.
it's a sale of some description,
Yeah.
whole or assets.
Yeah.
Some
Bob
of
Iger's
assets.
second act will be marked by sales.
selling.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
All right, we got 2 categories to go.
Yeah.
Weird and wonderful.
Weird and wonderful. This is a quick one. Elon loses the plot, which is already happening, but I think is no longer at Tesla, and because of that, all the diehard Elon fans get out of Tesla, and it halves in value.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It could almost be good for Tesla car sales to have like a steady
Focused.
car, like someone who's done like 30 years
Yeah.
at
Bring in the
Ford.
GM guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, he's anyway, enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
My weird and wonderful, I actually don't think this is that bold, but I think it will happen. One of Trump or Biden has to pull out of the race due to health challenges before Election Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming out about Trump and his health at the moment. Like obviously Biden's been it's it's starting to creep in a bit more with Trump's, but anyway, this isn't a political podcast, so who replaces either of them if one pulls out?
I reckon there's a few on the Democratic side. You've got Kamala, obviously, but then Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer are probably the names to watch. Republican side, who knows?
Yeah.
Nikki Haley, maybe, but probably Meatball Ron.
What?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, his favourables in the MAGA community are still really high.
Right.
They like him. They just prefer
So if
Trump.
you pull out of the race, you can come back in.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
the thing is now, because like delegates have started being
Yeah.
allocated, it probably will have to be at the convention.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
One to watch. Now, finally, Bryce, the last category that we always finish with is AFL.
Yeah.
So what's your prediction?
I've got 3, but I'm just going to go with one. I'm going to say Hawks make top 8.
Don't think that's bold.
Really?
Yeah.
They came third last.
I know, but they're young and they're pretty good.
Okay.
nice.
Kerno kicks over 90 goals.
Okay, nice. Okay, you take both of them.
All right. Melbourne
right.
doesn't make the 8.
Who?
Melbourne.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Too
Okay.
much turmoil over summer with Clayton.
Yeah, fair.
Anyway, I'm sticking with Hawks make top 8.
Cool.
What have you got?
Okay, so mine's got a bit of a preamble to it.
Oh.
So, since the Adelaide Crows topped the ladder and made the grand final in 2017, their crosstown rival Port Adelaide has finished above them on the ladder every year.
Mm-hmm.
So some years they've both been right at the tippy top. Other years they've been, neither of them have made the 8. But since Adelaide topped the ladder in 2017, Port have finished above them for 6 years straight.
Okay.
In 2024, that changes, and Adelaide finish above Port Adelaide.
Okay, nice. Adelaide were decent last year. Port are on fire, but they always kind of crumble when it comes
Yeah,
to the
Port
pointy
always
end.
win the mid-season trophy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they're always good to start the year.
Yeah. God, I can't wait for it to kick off.
I
It
know,
is
I
coming
know.
pretty soon.
Sydney looking very good with Brodie Grundy and Taylor
Yeah,
Adams.
big time, big time.
Yeah.
All right, well, those are the predictions. If you have a bold prediction, hit us up in our Facebook community. We'd love to hear from you. Join the conversation. Otherwise, we're going to take a very quick break and we'll be right back with our Stock of the Year. Welcome back to Equity Mates. It is time for our Stock of the Year competition. If you've just joined us for the last 5 years or thereabouts, Ren and I each pitch a stock at the start of the year to go head to head to see whose stock will finish on top at the end. Ren finally took the crown at the end of last year.
Yeah,
after 3 years of struggle.
I used to be the kiss of death. My companies would halve in value.
Is this the Adelaide Port Adelaide?
Maybe. I don't know. So yeah, we'll see how we go this year. Was that just an anomaly? Why don't you kick us off?
Okay.
We should say before we get started, this isn't financial advice. We don't know your personal circumstances. Do your own research, get professional advice if you need it. That we're just talking about these stocks for education and entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. Now, obviously, based on bold predictions, there are a couple of stocks that I think are decent, Eli Lilly and co. But I thought I really found this one interesting. This is a company that I've used a fair bit over the last 12 months, and you may have as well. And I've found it super impressive no matter where I am in the world. In fact, it's changed the way that I used to do something, which was book accommodation.
What, Airbnb?
I used to book Airbnb. I used to go to Airbnb first when
Yep.
booking accommodation. Now I go without fail to booking.com.
Oh, really?
Yeah, without fail. And that led me down the path of being like, who owns this company? Because I'm super impressed with the mobile app and just the simplicity of it all. And yeah, it's a great tech offer. And it's owned by a company called Booking Holdings. The ticker is BKNG and it's listed on the NASDAQ. And it is a powerhouse in the travel industry.
Okay,
yeah.
hit me with it.
So it's a travel industry conglomerate and an absolute gorilla. It has a bunch of brands under its umbrella. It started in 1996. I guess as a holding company, and with a company called Priceline. And the idea of Priceline was that you could go on and bid your price for what you wanted to pay for a travel service, which just started, was obviously a pretty innovative at the time.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, me either. I actually thought Priceline, the chemist.
pharmacy.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a weird place to start. Since then, it's been a story of acquisitions. 2005, they bought Booking.com. In 2007, they bought Agoda.com. 2013, Kayak.com. 2014, OpenTable. 2017, Momondo, the
Nice.
flight. Yeah.
That's my go-to for flights
Same.
still.
Yeah, love it. And then in 2018, Hotels Combined. So the story's been acquisition, and they now have a number of business offerings within the travel industry. But I just want to put some stats to how big they are in this industry. Airbnb had a total of 349 million nights booked in 2023. Booking and experiences. Booking Holdings had 850 million nights booked.
Wow. Okay. So,
So
like
almost-
2.5 times bigger.
Yeah. It has 555 million monthly website hits
Wow. Okay.
compared to Airbnb's 83.
Yep.
And in 2000, it has 41% share of online travel agency gross bookings
Okay.
in 2022. So an incredibly strong agency network. And last year they booked 62 million car rentals, 23 million airplane tickets, and as I said, 896 million rooms of accommodation.
Nice.
So it is massive.
Yeah.
And it's not just accommodation. So they have Booking.com, Agoda, and sort of rental cars for accommodation and experiences. But they also have Kayak and Momondo, which are these meta search companies that like aggregate other websites and give you like the opportunity to find the best prices. And they do experiences and activities with OpenTable, which is that online reservation for if you were to book anywhere in Sydney or whatever. And then Hotel Combines and Fair Harbour. So they've been absolutely whacked during COVID, as you can imagine, but they are roaring back to life. $17 billion in revenue in 2022, $20 billion in revenue in 2023, $8 billion profit last year. increasing earnings per share year on year. So this is a company that has low debt. They are a serious player in the market, and I guess they're in this position at the moment where they're capturing market share, and travel is rebounding, and they are an absolute dominant force.
Yeah, nice.
So the one sort of bear case I think I take with this is that they've run hard. They are at all-time highs right now.
Yeah.
So, where does it go from here? I would be hoping that they are going to be going into an earnings upgrade cycle over the next 12 months. But if you're to choose, those companies that are the best in its field and absolutely leading, then this is one of those companies, Booking.com. I also actually reached out to Adam Schwab, who's the founder of Luxury Escapes and a travel industry expert. And he said that they have huge scale benefit. He loves them as a company and is actually hates competing against them just because of how powerful they are.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
So something I do use, if you don't use it, check it out. Booking.com.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Interesting one. We'll track how that goes.
Yes.
So the one that I am going to bring. So for context, I was going to pitch Spotify.
Okay.
I think now that they have cleared the decks on their podcasting spend, I think their financials are going to look a lot better. And now that they're just going to become a podcasting platform rather than like try and produce their own, I think they can work on their podcasting UI and make it a better experience, because I think that really holds them back from being an all-in-one audio app. I think they're going to have some success with audiobooks, and obviously their music is just incredibly powerful. But the perils of doing this in mid-February is Spotify's already up like 25% year to date. And so,
Wow.
yeah, it was a bit like...
That's great.
where are we measuring it from, and what happens from here? So I started thinking about what other industries I want to play in, where else I want to go. And I'm doing an Australian company. So I guess the context here is America's love affair with gambling is growing.
Yes.
First, it was sports betting. That was the sort of last, maybe call it 5 years since it was started to be legalized. Now we're moving into the casino times. And a lot more states are allowing a lot more casinos. We saw Mark Cuban sell the majority stake in the Dallas Mavs recently to build a massive casino complex around the Mavs stadium. Like, that's sort of where we're trending, where the US is trending. And this Aussie company that I'm talking about is trying to ride that wave, and they're literally about to start launching their products with new casinos in Michigan and expect it to expand into New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Forget the idea that casinos are only in Las Vegas. America is
Going hard.
The company I don't think you will have heard of. I'm hoping I can bring a new one to the table. It's called Light and Wonder.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so ASX ticker LNW. It's also listed on the NASDAQ. It's a gambling company, so people can make up their own minds around ethical or unethical. And when I say gambling, I do mean large exposure to slot machines. So yeah, they've got their gaming division does slot machines, table games, shuffling machines, and casino management systems. So it's really trying to ride this casino wave. It's also got a iGaming and like a mobile games division, but like I think 64% of its revenue and 73% of its profit comes from casino gambling. So that's what we're talking about here.
Nice.
Now, why do I think it's an interesting company? So up until April 2022, it was known as Scientific Games. Listed over in the States, based in Las Vegas. It was a roll-up. It had accumulated over $8 billion in debt, and it started to really struggle under the weight of that debt. Between sort of mid to late 2021 and mid to late 2022, as interest rates started to go up, its share price halved, and its interest bill rose to more than $600 million. It just couldn't service its debt. And so it sold. The current CEO, his quote was, "It was like a Frankenstein accumulation of assets. We were trying to be the best lottery company, the best sports company, the best content, and ultimately a huge amount of debt." So it was unsustainable. It wasn't going well. So the major shareholders decided to sell, and they sold to a consortium of Australians, led by former executives of Aristocrat Leisure, Tony Korsanos and Jamie Odell. don't know either of them. But also backed by Aussie fund manager Caledonia.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why it's now listed in Australia and the US, because it's become a very Australian-led company. And when I say Australian-led, I do mean Australian-led, because one of the first things they did was poach about 80 of Aristocrat's staff.
Oh, wow.
So it's now some of the investors are ex-Aristocrat, the CEO is ex-Aristocrat, and about 80 of the Aristocrat staff have come across.
Oh, wow.
So then they did a strategic review of the business. They rebranded from Scientific Games to Light and Wonder. They sold the sports betting and lotteries businesses, and they used that to reduce debt. So it's gone from about $8.5 billion to about $3.5 billion. And they've really become a pure gaming company and like a casino gaming company. So why do I think it's interesting? Over the past 24 months, they've seen pretty remarkable market growth around in America and Australia. But to just take Australia, market share has gone from 8% to 30% in Australia. So they're winning market share. But they're also looking at I guess like different strategic partnerships. They've just signed a deal with Netflix to license a lot of Netflix's content into their gaming machines and stuff like that. And so you might start seeing, like Squid Game slot machines and stuff like that. But then thirdly, and I think most compellingly, is the legalization and rollout story really across the states. And if they can ride that wave.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Huge addressable market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the company. And I think at its core, it's also a turnaround story. It's this company that was struggling, and now they've really tried to rationalize what they're doing, get new people in, and what can they do. It has already run a bit, so
that's the name of the game.
could be priced in. But I figured, if I'm going to lose stock of the year, I'm going to lose it with an interesting company that people haven't heard of.
Yeah, it's good. What was it? Light and
Wonder.
Light and Wonder. Nice. All right. Well, we will take the performance from when we record, 15th of Feb.
Yeah.
And baseline it from there. May the best man win.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Well, that brings us to the end of our first episode back for 2024. If you've enjoyed it, please, if you can rate and review in your podcast app, that would be much appreciated. And also come and join us in our Facebook community. But Ren, we'll leave it there. We'll be back on Thursday.
It's good to be back.